Hello there, welcome to Doctor Who Radio Show. I'm That's The Way It Goes N9, and this is
Ian Nieves, better known as Slug Corp. I run Slug Corp Media.
And in this episode of Doctor Who Radio Show, myself and Slug will be looking through episode 706 to 7013. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13 to you and me, which make up Series 7 Part 2. So, let's begin. Episode 706, The Bells of St. John. Now that's not confirmed, and all the titles aren't confirmed until broadcast. This is the 2013 opener, set on present day. It sees the Doctor battling with something living in the Wi-Fi, which is feeding on humans. The sentient Twitter, as the Doctor puts it, harvests human minds, and also has the power to project an image from your subconscious. So, the Bells of St. John, how does that sound to you, Slugcorp?
I think this episode is going to crash and burn because it has too much of a complex plot. It's like that movie The Dark Knight Rises, where it had several plots in once, and it didn't really make sense at all.
That's only a vague description, though, of the whole, episode, isn't it?
Well, if that was vague, then it's a very complex, vague description. And I know I can't judge the episode if it hasn't been released yet, but I can say this: I do not expect it to be good.
And it goes on about a sentient Twitter, which is a bit of a cliche, really.
Yeah, I mean...
in science fiction, technology going wrong, being sentient, or becoming sentient, and deciding that humans aren't particularly worth its time, really. And then there's the fact that it's called the Bell of St. John. So the John that's mentioned in the cast list, along with Alexei Chen, sounds like Bells of St. John. Is he going to be a priest or something?
I hope not. I hope Moffat doesn't tie religion into all this, because...
Well, I don't know if this has got any connection, but in the trailer you saw the bit where there was the portrait of Oswin, and you had this younger looking monk and this other one with his head, white haired fellow, to the camera. But that looked like it was set early in Earth's history. Could this be like a sort of descendant, this St. John, of the one that features later in the season? Sort of back to front type thing, or this is just an idea, really?
Well, I'm not sure. I think we have too many Johns in the series already, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. John Smith.
I was thinking of Barrowman.
Could it possibly be like a sequel to the Idiot's Lantern? Because in the trailer you see the Doctor and Oswin on a motorbike with the same sort of helmets that the 10th Doctor and Rose, that's fit. That was situated in, I think it was the 1950s, wasn't it? Just after the war and stuff. And to be terribly honest, is it me, or does that thin plot, kind of sound like the Idiot's Lantern, because that had the same thing?
Well, I don't think so, because Stephen Moffat despises the work of Russell T. Davies. He has been trying to get rid of the work of Russell T. Davies.
But that was written by
everything.
That was written by Mark Gatiss, who he collaborates with, the Idiot Lantern. And in you had a TV shop whose owner was basically working for this entity called The Wire. And in this it says present day Earth, a sentient Twitter harvesting the minds. So maybe the similarities to the Idiot Lantern is, like I said, because it might be the return of The Wire. itself.
I really hope so, because The Wire was just... I love that villain.
Because when I read that, I thought, oh dear, that's sort of copying the Idiot's Lantern, but maybe that's the whole point, because it is directly a follow-on or whatever to the Idiot Lantern.
Well, I'm starting to have a sinking feeling that you're correct. It's not a good feeling, and I really hope that it is not a spin-off of the Idiot's Lantern. If it is, we'll know right away. Alright? That's...
707 is The Rings of Akhaten, I think that's how you pronounce it, written by Neil Cross and directed by Farron Blackburn. According to Moffat, this takes place on the biggest and best alien planet Doctor Who has ever done. First assistant director is David Mack, and his CV listed the episode as what I've just quoted, but also possibly some sort of Egyptian connection. Akhenaten was an Egyptian pharaoh and the husband of Queen Nefertiti, who just by sheer coincidence appeared in Dinosuars on a spaceship, didn't she?
I don't think it was a coincidence. I think that Stephen Moffat is really, really at his best in this future episode. And you're probably wondering, how can I say that? The episode hasn't aired yet. But I think that he has definitely got something good up his sleeve with this episode. An alien planet. We hardly go to those anymore in Doctor Who. I mean, we also have, like, what's it called?
Space stations and stuff.
Yeah, that stuff. I mean, and then you got this sort of husband-wife thing with Queen Nefertiti. I mean, this episode is going to be the balls. I can tell you that right now.
I thought you were sounding like you didn't like the sound of it.
No. The first one sounds terrible. But it's going to be kind of like season 6, where the episodes went up and down in quality all the time.
It sounds interesting. Maybe another sort of follow-in. And from the pictures and clips, it looks like there's going to be tons and tons of aliens. So very Star Trekky. Very much like The Longest Game type thing. That episode with the editor, the newspaper type thing where they kept going to promotion during Eccleston's time as the Doctor, and actually it was just to be sort of absorbed by this Raccotherius Facultus or whatever it's called.
I think I know what you're talking about. The Rachnos.
Yeah, that something like that, because that's what the picture reminds me of. The Cold War, which is 708. Now let's have a look. Mark Gatiss, directed by Douglas McKinnon. A classic base under siege story, just like in the Patrick Troughton era. Set on a submarine, no less. According to many rumours, it is supposed to originate with a bloody flipping return of none other than the Ice Warriors.
No. I don't want to see Ice Warriors.
Well,
I want to see the Sea Devils.
The picture that I've seen to actually prove this does look suspiciously like the Ice Warriors. All you see is this guy being choked, but the arm and the shoulder look like the ones, the sort of bulky reptilian looking type of Ice Warrior hand. And what's shooting out from his arm? None other than lots of snow and ice towards him.
Oh, well, maybe it will have the Ice Warriors, but I was really hoping for the Sea Devils, you know? I mean, it's been so long since we've seen the Sea Devils.
This is the one that features David Warner, who most recently has appeared in one of the Doctor Who Big Finish Unbound, where he played twice a different Doctor, travelling with Brigadier Leopard Stewart. Curious. And there's been suggestions by Doctor Who Chris that he was supposed to play none other than the first Doctor, perhaps. Because the Ice Warriors, unlike the Cybermen, haven't... blimey, the Ice Warriors last appeared in Doctor Who in 1974, nearly 40 years ago. They were supposed to appear along with the Rani and the Master in the abandoned season 22. That was supposed to take place in Shanghai, but of course that season was curtailed and replaced by Trial of a Time Lord. So even though there's been books featuring the Ice Warriors and audio dramas by Big Finish featuring, well, Doctor 5, 6 and 7, this is, if it is the Ice Warriors, the first appearance, 74, 84, 94, 2004, oh yeah, it'll be 39 years since they last appeared.
Really?
Yeah.
But what about when they were last mentioned?
That would have been one of the Peladon stories. No, you're wrong. The Waters of Mars. Well, they
were last mentioned.
Yeah, they were mentioned, but they didn't actually appear, though, did they?
Well, unfortunately, no. But
yeah, it's the bit where the Doctor's trying to figure out the origins of the flood and suggesting that the Ice Warriors might have left Mars because of the flood itself.
Yep, that makes sense.
And what if the flood was actually originally created perhaps by the Ice Warriors?
That is a good possibility.
Because the Flood were very much like the Ice Warriors in a sort of way. They had the same sort of creepiness about them.
I agree with you. I completely agree with you. So, if we're going to see Ice Warriors in a submarine, what could they be after in that submarine? Let's speculate real fast.
Well, the episode is called Cold War.
Well, that's a bit of a pun, isn't it?
Cold War might relate to taking place in the 60s, perhaps.
Yeah, but it's also a pun, because, the Ice Warriors, they're cold.
If they return, Slug, they're presumably going to be updated a little bit. And Cold War, would that suggest that we might see not just one faction of Ice Warriors, but two? Maybe.
Two factions of Ice Warriors battling it out. I think I know what the episode's going to contain already. It's going to be like, they're in a submarine, and they're going to the Arctic, where they discover frozen Ice Warriors, who, once activated, send a signal to the other Ice Warriors, who then go down, and they fight on a submarine, and it's freaking epic.
Well, that's how they were discovered originally in the Ice Warriors in Patrick Troughton.
Yes.
They actually defrosted. So I'm quite sure there'll be a few little nods to that story.
Right.
It's just too much of a coincidence. That arm looks so much like our Ice Warrior arm. Yeah. But that would suggest perhaps they've got another way to attack or kill people, because in the original stories they used this sort of sonic gun on the arm of their, on the end of their arm.
Really?
Yeah, sort of either to incapacitate or defend, that sort of thing.
You know what I want to see? I want to see a sword made out of ice. And the Ice Warriors just storm up to someone and they're like, hey, they're unarmed, what are they gonna do? And then all of a sudden they generate a sword from their bare hands with ice and start killing all the soldiers, and then the soldiers start shooting, but they've got ice shields, and I know what's gonna happen too. They're gonna have these controls that are isomorphic.
Well,
isomorphic.
We're gonna find out more, really, but I don't know. I always get the impression that it might be similar to Remembrance of the Daleks, two lots of Daleks, and that going up against the modern military, because the submarine would have lots of, well, maybe Russian, maybe American, who knows, but they'll be fighting amongst themselves, or at least fighting against humans, while of course they're on a submarine, so that's a double jeopardy. Means the TARDIS will land on a submarine, presumably.
Well, it hasn't done that before, so...
Intriguing. And then there's 709, which apparently is either Hinder in the House or Phantoms of the Hex. So could be either of those titles, or it could be something different. Written by Nigel, why do I keep saying Neil as Nigel? It's Neil Cross, directed by Jamie Payne. A historical ghost story, similar possibly to The Unquiet Dead, maybe?
Maybe. And
one of the biggest guest cast members is Dougray Scott, the actor, as somebody called the Professor.
Well, you know what is going to happen if they redo The Unquiet Dead. The stiffs are getting livid again.
Well, you should mention that, because at the very start you see a dead corpse, that's just been, grieved over by the relatives, gets up and screams, which leads in, the scream of the creature meshes with the ow. And this is the very second episode of the new series originally, wasn't it? After Rose. Oh no, the third one after that one where they went to the far, far future, end of the world.
Yeah,
But the picture that I've seen, the one I've got on my laptop, looks very much like that, a shimmering ghost character reaching out.
Well, I don't think it's going to be exactly like it. I think that they're going to pull a Scooby-Doo on us and say, oh, well, the ghost really was the third Doctor. Oh my gosh. No. No.
Why would the ghost be the third Doctor?
I meant to say the Dream Lord.
Oh, the Dream Lord. It's got to be a Dream Lord, a Time Lord. Yeah, I don't know. There's been other ghosts as well. There's been sort of ghosts in that Doomsday story. Is it Doomsday story? No. I'm getting... Oh dear. Help me out here, Slug. I forget the title. The one that...
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
The Cybermen returned at the end of season 2.
Oh, Doomsday. It was just called Doomsday.
And they sort of... They look like the undead coming back to lots and lots of people, didn't they, or something?
Yeah, that's because the one before Doomsday was, oh my god, I forgot. I completely forgot.
Oh dear. Well, Phantoms of the Hex. Hinder in the House. Phantoms of the Hex. Is the Hex going to be some sort of realm or enemy or something like that?
I don't know.
Because those ghosts in The Unquiet Dead were a species that got caught up in the Time War and were completely eradicated, weren't they?
Well, I suppose so, yes.
They were trying to use the undead, dead of a species, i.e. humans in Victorian London, basically to survive, because their realm had been disrupted by the Time War. This is all conjecture, because we've had hardly any information, so, and I've only got this picture and a bit of sort of comparison to the previous episode, but the picture does show a sort of stately house, and you have this whitish, ghoulish figure reaching out. Unless, of course, it is a Scooby-Doo episode, I don't know, perhaps it literally is going to be a bunch of fake ghosts or something.
Yeah, that sounds more like it.
So you think it's going to be the homage to Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Gang?
Yep. Sounds kind of like that, yeah. Queen Nefertiti and Rupert Graves and probably a bunch of other people will get together and they'll get a dog, and they will drive up in a van and say, "Oh my gosh, gang, we gotta check this out," and run around a bit, you know.
And I don't know about you, but some of the stories seem to be repeating past stories, or being sequels to something that only happened a few episodes or a year ago.
Well, I've got some advice for Stephen Moffat.
Okay.
If people start criticizing him about this, he could always say the following: history repeats itself.
Doesn't it usually go to saying those who ignore history will be condemned to repeat it? But needless to say, 720 is Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, which I've mentioned to several people now, and I'm presuming it's going to be anticipated just like the Doctor's wife was. And this is a TARDIS orientated story, written by Steve Thompson and directed by Matt King. TARDIS heavy story. Ashley Walters plays one of the trio of brothers, a intergalactic salvage crew apparently. And for those who don't know, Ashley Walters was one of the cast members of Hustle in season 4, and also is well known as a hip hop sort of R&B artist as well.
Oh no.
So basically, in a nutshell, somehow and for some reason, a trio of intergalactic salvage crew brothers have something to do with the TARDIS. What do you think their connection to the TARDIS is? Because they look like they're a well-oiled team. Salvage crew? Oh dear, doesn't sound good.
Well, it sounds... I think I know what's going to happen. They think that the TARDIS is going to be a piece of space junk, and they're going to try to take it apart, dismantle it, and they end up going to the center of the TARDIS. It sounds like it's a bad news. It's bad news for the TARDIS crew who was originally there, because, well, it's just going to be bad. Think about it. Also, I expect the Dream Lord to reappear due to the fact that the last time... Oh, did I say something wrong?
No, go
on. Because the last time we had something that took place entirely in the TARDIS, it was Amy's Choice.
Yeah.
And the Dream Lord appeared there. So I'm really hoping for a Dream Lord appearance.
But the last time you had a catastrophic thing with the TARDIS was the Big Bang, when it exploded, quite literally.
Yes, but still...
So, doesn't that suggest maybe that something happens with the TARDIS before they go to salvage it?
I don't know.
Well, they're all geared up in the picture, and they're all black, unsurprisingly, being brothers. So I think personally that maybe there's a big problem with the TARDIS, or they're being pursued by these brothers, and they have to basically go into the deepest depths of the TARDIS to get away from them, perhaps, or something like that. I don't know. Like in the Invasion of Time.
Remember, the Doctor is supposed to be running to things and not running away from them in this series.
Yes.
So, maybe the salvage crew sneaks in and does something wrong with the TARDIS, and they have to go to the center of it to fix it, or something like that.
Salvage crew. Well, that...
Wait, I know what Matrix Lord 212 would say if he were here right now. He would say, well, the TARDIS is in a different dimension, okay? So, if some salvage crew was traveling in a different dimension and they stumbled upon the TARDIS, which is itself a different dimension, which could be accessed through a wormhole, then maybe they have to go to the center of the TARDIS to face the bad guy, and the Doctor is going to have to protect his own dimension, his TARDIS, in a more secure way.
Are they working together, do you think, or working against each other?
I think that they are going to work against each other in the beginning, and then they will team up to face an ultimate foe.
Ah. Oh, I see.
I know how these things go down.
Unless they're salvaging the TARDIS for the Doctor. I don't know.
I doubt it.
It could always be a direct, lead on from the previous story, maybe. Something happens as a big cliffhanger at the end of the Hex story, leading to a severely damaged TARDIS, or perhaps even a stranded Doctor. Because we haven't really had a whole story. Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, finally a story where we're going to see lots of the TARDIS. Maybe. Hopefully. No, but you're right though, the TARDIS is an object which is designed specifically to manipulate dimensions into existing at the same time as each other. Perhaps they clash with the two dimensions, the Doctor's dimension and the salvage crew's dimension by accident.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Sounds about right.
Yes, 3 times over. And then we have The Crimson Horror, written by Mark Gatiss, his second contribution, and directed by Sal Metzstein, set in a strange 19th century village called Sweetville. The Doctor is investigating people who have been going missing in a factory that is run by the mysterious Winfield Gillyflower.
I beg your pardon, did you just sneeze? Because
Yes.
Gillyflower sounds like...
Well, she's played by Diana Rigg, none other, from the legendary British TV series The Avengers. And also,
oh my gosh.
before you say what you think about this, Madame Vastra, Jenny and Strax return in this episode, as the trailer pointed out, of course.
More lesbian action, yay.
Well, Diana Rigg, a icon, playing the mysterious character Winifred Gillyflower. Sounds a bit Time Lord, if you ask me. And then there's the trio who didn't really do very much eventually in the Christmas special, and another 19th century setting. Oh dear, which sounds, I don't know, it just seems a bit too similar to the Christmas special, and from the picture it looked a bit just had a thought.
What?
Perhaps they return to the same place. They'd be returning presumably to the same place in the Christmas special if it's got Lady Vastra.
Yes.
Maybe, yeah.
They would.
So what do you think?
Well, I think this is one of those filler episodes.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I think this is one of those filler episodes that really is there just to exist.
Oh.
It's kind of like Father's Day. Remember Father's Day?
Well, that was a good episode though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good episode. But it doesn't really contribute anything to the plot. In Season 1, I'm going to take you all back in time a bit. In Season 1, we had the bad wolf thing going on. But Father's Day didn't really contribute to that much.
No.
It really just said, this is happening,
Yeah.
and the world will end, and there are giant bat reapers everywhere. No, I think this is going to be one of those fillers that doesn't really contribute to the plot, so, yes.
Well, Father's Day was really showing the consequence of the fallout from the Time War, the absence of the Time Lords, because, the Doctor points out, when my race, the Time Lords, existed, they would have sorted paradoxes out, etc. But back to this episode.
Yeah.
I'm getting a bit sick and tired of Victorian bloody settings. You got this story earlier on, which is the best alien planet, which is a bit strange for them to say, because the old series, on a budget not even quarter the size, managed that all the time. And yet here we are, yet again, on Earth in the 19th century. I can understand if it's, the, realm, the setting that's the habitat of Lady Vastra and Co. But seriously, can't they think of something a bit more original than present day Earth, Victorian Earth? Although I do like the fact that it's called Sweetville and that there's a mysterious figure, which is curious because I seem to recall. Oh well, it should be interesting, really.
What?
Oh. And then there's the one that Slug Corp is looking forward to, which is episode 12, entitled, yeah, that sounded like a Cyberman, The Last of the Cybermen.
Ooh.
Neil Gaiman, the Doctor's wife writer, Stephen Wolfenden, I think that's how you pronounce it, confirmed to feature redesigned Cybermen. Moffat's brief apparently to Gaiman was to make them scary again. Part of the story is supposed to be set in an abandoned theme park called Hedgewick's World. Sounds a bit like the Harry Potter one, actually. With
Yes.
Warwick Davis, who of course is famous for appearing in Return of the Jedi and Willow, etc. And have you seen the new remade Cybermen?
No, I have not, but I'm especially excited for Neil Gaiman because we all know he does great work, whether it be writing or Doctor Who. I can't wait to see what he has in store for us. And also, in tribute to him, he is very creepy when it comes to writing. He can write some pretty scary stuff. You know what I mean? Have you ever heard of Coraline?
Nope.
Well, Coraline is a very scary book for children. It's kind of like Roald Dahl. I'm going to go on a limb and say Neil Gaiman is the modern day Roald Dahl. Okay? There. I said it.
Well, Warwick Davis is playing a character called Porridge, and Tasmin Oathwaite, who's a well-known actress in England, is playing Captain Alice.
Oh. Well, I expect it to be a great episode. Brilliant. Neil Gaiman says it all. 5 stars. Yeah. 10 out of 10. Right there.
The redesign of Cybermen is quite frankly a return to the original universe Cybermen. It's less, sort of iPod-y, delete type Cybermen, and more back to the original ones. And the fact that it's in a theme park seems rather interesting. Maybe the theme park is a front to sort of reboot the Cybermen redesign, that is, populace, if you like. Because they look beautiful. They look old school Doctor Who Cybermen, less clunky, less robotic-y, and more, sort of Cybermen soldiers, if you like.
Well, first off, the Cybermen are pretty frightening. If anyone has ever seen Attack of the Cybermen, that's scary.
Yeah.
If anyone ever read Neil Gaiman, hang on, that is scary. If anyone ever thought, hey, a theme park would be a great place to shoot a horror film, then you know that's going to be scary. So we have 3 scary elements in one episode.
Yeah.
This might as well be our Halloween special right here, because there's only one word I can say: damn.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because the brief, as I mentioned, to Gaiman from Moffat was to make them scary again, and Gaiman's best strength is scary things, and where better to find scary things and encounter them in a theme park.
Exactly.
And I'd point out that I think it might be medieval, because one of the Cybermen in one of the promo pictures, there's like, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Cybermen walking towards somebody, one of the characters. One of them has this big sort of medieval staff with a mace on the end. And the big problem with the new Cybermen that we've had so far is that they're clunky. Yeah, they're clunky and rather slow, and they're a bit too stiff. The old Cybermen, although they were slow, had more sort of human movement and more aggressive movement, you know.
Yeah, they were more like men.
Yeah,
really.
And that's the whole point. That's the return to form, really. You know, it's more men sort of shape and less sort of, you know, delete, that sort of thing, which isn't really scary. It's scary to a point, but yeah, it's a bit sort of, you know, they're more like Jason Voorhees than, you know, wind-up soldier. Maybe that's the theme of the whole new series, you know, to sort of get back to being sort of scary in a sort of, you know, mid Tom Baker period, you know, like season 12 and 13.
Exactly. I think we should have a Cybermania over this.
Cyber meeting.
No, Cybermania.
Yeah. Oh, Cybermania. Definitely. Well, total remake, a return to form in a updated way to the original sort of templates of the Cybermen, and just returning the scariness into them that you used to get in stories like Earth Crash and stuff, you know, them coming round the corner, grabbing you, you know, that sort of thing. Go to the final episode of this season. Well, I'd like to tell you, Slug, what the title of this season final is. Well, I can tell you it's 7/13 Series 7 final, written by Stephen Moffat and again directed by Sal Metzstein. The gang of Vastra, Jenny and Strax are back, also rumoured to feature, and you're not going to like the first person I mentioned, River Song. So we know that the Vastra and Co gang are back. Maybe, unfortunately for Slug Corp, River Song, and also, this is surprising, Dr. Simeon.
Dr. Simeon?
Yeah, Dr. Simeon.
That sounds quite familiar.
Unexpected. Yeah. What? I thought, didn't he get sort of emptied or something in the last time we saw him?
Oh, Simeon, yes, from the child episode,
Christmas special that we've seen only a few weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Christmas special.
Oh gosh. You know, you got my hopes up for a second, because I thought you were talking about Doctor, I think his name began with a C, in The Empty Child, who helped Susan and all that, and I would really love to see him come back. But Dr. Simeon, he's dead. Isn't he supposed to be dead, or wasn't he supposedly, he got his memory erased? This is stupid. I don't want him to come back at all. Why does he have to come back? Because the writers are too cheap.
Oh. Or, yeah, that's a good point actually. So that, you mean cheap in ideas?
Yes.
Let's admit though, when it comes to Stephen Moffat's season finals, like The Big Bang, and also The Solution, you know, to season 6, when you had time sort of existing all at once or whatever, it was Rome, but it wasn't, and you had Winston Churchill, and you had a Silurian doctor from the Hungry Earth and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, but that wasn't a very good episode, was it?
And then The Big Bang had, you know, Subtarian warriors, Cybermen, Daleks, all putting him in the Pandorica to try and save the universe, even though it would actually prevent the universe from existence, so it couldn't have been saved or destroyed, or saved from being destroyed, or destroyed because it was saved, because it didn't exist.
Exactly.
Oh dear, I had trouble getting that out. He said to the porn actress. Anyway, there we go. So those are rumours, but as regard to River Song returning, with Simeon it's baffling why he's coming back. Interesting choice, but with River Song, I think it's fair to say, dude, you aren't exactly thrilled.
Yeah, ever since
Just get your tits out, woman. I love her breasts. I think they're fucking marvellous, those breasts. Anyway, go on.
there or she's not, you know? I'm tired of her being this mysterious character who always, like, I'm here, but then I'm not. You know, where was River Song in the beginning of this the Christmas special? Where was she? Because the last time we saw the Doctor, Amy said...
she wasn't in it, so you wouldn't have seen her.
No, but Amy, remember in that Angels episode, like the Angels Take Manhattan or something? Amy said before she died, she wrote in a book, "Keep River Song because she's the only one you've got." But then when the psychopath thing came back, what? No. I have lost my patience with River Song, no matter how big her boobs are.
She appeared in Silence in the Library. That was her first encounter. Oh, fuck it. Good point. She first appeared in Silence in the Library, and that was her last encounter with the Doctor when he was in the previous incarnation, David Tennant's 10th, of course. So each encounter with the Doctor is going back in her timeline. You know, she gets younger and younger, apparently, she's supposed to, while going forward in the Doctor's, you know, 10th, 11th, further and further, departure ponds, etc. So, at some point, if not this story, she should, be encountered just before she meets the Doctor in that library.
Yes, she should, shouldn't she? Well, I honestly don't know what's going to happen. Stephen Moffat, this is a message to you. Please don't blow it, because if you do, you're going to mess up everything. Alright? It was good talking to you, David.
And we can't even start to discuss the 50th anniversary, because we have absolutely bugger all idea, which presumably been written, because within 3 months it will start shooting, but what it will entail and which villains and which companions, we don't know. But apparently both, well, they always say this, don't they, but both Billy Piper and John Barrowman have said that they don't think they're going to be in it. They haven't been asked yet.
Yeah, but if they had been asked, they wouldn't say so, would they?
Yeah, that...
confidentiality.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we should wrap it up now, because we've been talking for a very long time.
Well, it could be worse. It would have felt twice as long if we had to discuss River Song, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the way it goes.
Oh.
And like the Slug said, sitting on the lettuce. This is the end of this episode of Doctor Who Radio Show. Thank you for joining me. I was, and I still will be for a long time. That's the way it goes, 09.
And I'm Slug Corp. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Thank you for joining us.